Everyone, it's Jen again. Hope you're having a good week and hope that you're all staying warm and cozy. Things have been very, very cold here with a lot of snow and just challenging weather, I guess you could call it. And I've been having some persistent health issues, mainly just a really annoying cough and sinus congestion that I seem to get during the winter time on an annual basis, and I never remember it really bothering me this much, but it seems to happen like almost every year, and I always forget how much it just kind of drags me down until it happens. I haven't really been wanting to make videos. I've just been wanting to stay in bed when I'm not at work and take a long hot bath and pretty much just pass out. And that's made it challenging for me to work on my game development. And I thought I would talk about it a little bit because this is something that probably happens to anybody who's working on a larger project, is what do you do when you have probably this very delicate equilibrium of energy? At least I feel like I do. When I go to work and I work on my game development, there's a kind of delicate balance that I have worked out over the years that I can work about this much and still have enough energy to do the things that I need to do at home for my family and at work. And then I have a certain amount of energy left over from that I can devote towards game development, and pushing myself past that threshold will probably lead to burnout. So I'm very careful to manage that energy, to not push myself over that, because I don't like those highs and lows of like stressful deadline kind of situations where it's like I'm gonna cram, and I'm going to push myself past my limit, and then I'm gonna be burnt out, and then I'm going to end up in this like slump where I spend all this time in recovery and I just feel kind of crappy about myself, because game development or creative expression, just doing creative projects for myself that are not work related, is something that I really thrive off of. So taking that away from my daily routine for any period of time longer than like a couple days just is asking me to spiral into depression, because I'm just that personality type that thrives off of like productivity for myself. So I'm a very productive person at work and at home too, but I enjoy life when I can actually put that energy into myself and into my self-expression. I'm very mindful of protecting that energy, that store of time, and mainly energy, because I do feel like I have enough time if I have enough energy. Because I feel like I mentioned this before, I feel like there are times that I just kind of sit and zone out, either reading or scrolling or just wasting time on the internet, that I could be doing something with productive but don't have the energy for it. And a lot of times those little time sinks really add up, that wow, I could have gotten a lot done in that window of time, that 15 minutes, that 30 minutes, if I had the energy and focus to actually do something during that time, instead of just basically sitting there and whatever I did for that 15 minutes, I don't even remember half the time. Like, that's the type of time that I don't like to find myself falling down, because it's one thing to like play a game or to read a book or to watch a movie that was really impactful and inspirational and brought me to tears and catharsis and made me feel like a part of the human experience. And then it's another thing to just have my brain shut off and suddenly an hour's passed by and I think I scrolled through maybe 20 videos and I don't even know what I watched. Like, I don't want to spend my life doing that. It's a really easy thing to fall down, to sink into when you're not feeling well or you don't have the energy to vet you don't even have the energy to really like search for like that really rich content that's going to make your life feel fuller, because that takes energy to find too, and that takes a certain amount of time commitment usually, because those richer experiences are usually not like 5, 10, 15 minutes. So it can feel like, oh, I've got to be able to dedicate a whole hour or 2 hours, 10 hours to fully immerse myself into this thing that I don't want to be interrupted from. So I think that modern day life just feels so fragmented sometimes. Our attention is so fragmented that we can feel like we don't have enough time to give ourselves those experiences that maybe require a more dedicated block of time. And especially we might feel like we don't have enough energy to pursue larger, more involved projects that require a lot of sustained energy in the long run in order to complete. And so one of the things that I've discovered over the years is that that's kind of like a myth that I had in my brain, that I had told myself that I needed to, have this big block of uninterrupted time. I needed to have this burst of energy in order to feel like I could even start thinking about these projects that maybe had a lot of working parts that I need to figure out. And these days I understand myself and I understand my process well enough that I just kind of trust it, that I'm like, hey, if I've got 15 minutes here, then just start writing, and maybe I'll get interrupted and maybe I won't, but in that 15 minutes, I might still be able to get like maybe 10 lines out, and that's 10 more lines that I guess I didn't have before. And surprisingly enough, if I'm in the right mindset, that I can actually end up using most of that really fragmented work. And once I compile it together, a lot of times it just works. So it's probably because I spend a lot of time thinking about these things before I execute them too. So the most important part, I guess, is just kind of have a rough outline in my mind of what I need to do. And then once I start picking away at it, whenever I have those like little blocks of time, then it all adds up. It's all like little steps forward. And maybe sometimes I might have to backtrack a little bit because my vision wasn't that clear. And I got a little bit distracted or a little unfocused, and something that came out that was a little wonky and doesn't really like match the rest of like my overall vision. But for the most part, most of that stuff is usable, and it's a better use of my time than just waiting for the magical combination of time, energy, and space and focus that maybe I'll get a couple vacation days a year that I can devote towards doing that kind of stuff that I'm not going to have to give that time or share that time with family and friends and all that other stuff. So I just don't wait for that time that's right to get started. I just kind of keep picking away at it. And so that's kind of what's been going on with me with my health situation, is that I have been sleeping a lot more. I have been resting a lot more, and I have been vegging out and wasting a lot more time than I normally would, because I think my brain is just kind of foggy with having this congestion and everything. So it hasn't been a great winter for me in that regards, but it is a testament, right, that I was still able to come out with my monthly updates. And these are updates that are not like, I'm not obligated to do them in any way, shape, or form. I think I just like to hold myself accountable, because I know myself that I am happiest in my life when I am being productive. And so if I'm not making my monthly goals, if I'm not executing my plans, then I feel like there's something in my life that needs to be rearranged, because I'm not happy when I don't get to execute my plans that I've laid out for myself. And I guess that's just the way that I personally work. And I'm not happy when I'm not working on game development, at least a little bit every day. that's kind of what just makes my day like fun and exciting for me. So if I don't have enough time and energy to carve out at least a little bit of progress, that means that I want to take a step back and like figure out like, what am I doing here? Is it because I'm not happy with my project? Is it because I'm not happy with my vision? Is it because there's something in my life that's taking too much of my time and energy that I need to like kind of redistribute that and make a little bit more time for myself again? Or is it like I need to set some boundaries, or maybe I do need to take care of my health and I forgot to take my vitamin D something like that, you know, or combination of all those things. So that's kind of why I like to look at my progress over the course of a month, because you know, from a day-to-day basis, there can be hang-ups, there can be unexpected emergencies, there can be, you know, illness, there can be obligations that just kind of can't be planned for. But in general, if I am not making my monthly goals on top of like not making my weekly and daily goals, then there probably is something like larger, systemic, that I can try to reevaluate and rebalance. I guess I like to take a proactive approach like that and not just feel like I'm being thrown by the whims of, you know, whatever life is offering me. I like to try to course correct in that way. So this last month has been a course correction. I was having a very hard time meeting my productivity goals for several weeks in a row. I was still trying to squeeze in like little bits of progress whenever I felt like I had the time and energy to do so. And it's going to be tight this month. I don't know if I'm going to come out with my monthly update, to be honest. I really didn't think I was going to come out with an update for January up until like probably this week. And then suddenly something kind of shifted in me where I was able to make up for a lot of lost time, and I'm still very happy with like how my plan is being executed. So I don't feel like I'm rushing and like phoning it in or anything like that. Maybe I still won't be able to make my goal. I won't be able to publish chapter 6 by January 31st, but if for some reason I miss that deadline, it's going to be close. I'm not going to take much longer than that as far as I can foresee right now. I'm on a pretty good projection. So, and I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to have that kind of like recovery if I hadn't been still trying to, I guess, like squeeze in things when I could squeeze them in. So I guess that's what I would encourage people who feel like they might be going through a rough patch is to just try to do what you can. And then if you were feeling like you're really set back when you're looking at where you want to be, in a larger time frame, like anytime we're trying to work towards larger goals, I think it's good for me at least to have like kind of like a daily goal that is a very loose goal. I usually don't stick to my daily goals at all. Usually I don't even sweat it at all because I'm so used to just not really the day just doesn't go how I plan, and that's life. And then I usually have weekly goals, and I don't really sweat the weekly goals either, to be honest, because, you know, you can have a bad week. A bad day can turn into a bad week. And it's usually more when I start getting towards the monthly goals that I'm like, okay, if I'm not making my monthly goal and I'm not even close, either my goals and my vision need to be readjusted or my life needs to be readjusted. Or, you know, there's something there. And I guess that, again, is because I know myself and I know my process very well. I don't set unrealistic goals for myself. I've been pretty consistent over my entire kind of 5 years, 6 years developing on itch.io. For those who know me, I've been able to keep a pretty steady stream of productivity because that's what gets my engine going, so to speak. So I guess I just decided that I was going to make this video because I think it's important for us to have these discussions when we are struggling. The other thing that I just wanted to briefly mention is that for those who know me, I do enjoy a lot of other like hands-on kind of crafty stuff, and I had made some pins at one point, some stickers, bookmarks, decals, I like working with a bunch of different, I guess, fabrications type machines, CNC machine, laser cutter, 3D printer, Cricut, those sort of stuff, and kind of combining different elements of each one of those tools in order to kind of like showcase my artwork in different ways. And that is another way that I kind of like, I guess, kept my momentum going when I was struggling to focus, because Allele is so story heavy. A lot of my development time, I would say like 99% of my development time, it feels like, is writing. And writing has been very challenging right now, with my head being kind of like all congested and foggy. So I did take some time to take a little bit break and work on making these keychains that I wanted to do a giveaway for. So this giveaway is still going to be taking entries until February 10th. Feel free to fill out the form or shoot me an email and apply for it if you like. These are all made by me, and yeah, it's something that I just enjoy creating. I just enjoy creating stuff. I like that satisfaction. So this there's always like new things to learn and new things to explore. And if you feel like you're getting in a rut with game development or some other like major project, like, don't be afraid to kind of pivot and do something else for a little bit, flex a different part of your brain. I think any of that stuff is better than just not doing anything and falling into that trap of just idly zoning out. That's just me though. You know, you might be in a part of your life where you are in burnout and you need that kind of like just total, decompression of like shutting everything off and letting yourself heal. I like to try to avoid getting to that point. So that might also be a bit of a flag for you that your life might need some rebalancing as a whole, so that you don't find yourself falling into that level of exhaustion. Okay. Take care. Don't forget to enjoy the process and stay warm out there. Bye-bye.